Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
How you doing?
I'm not too bad. Good. Yourself?
Aye, good. A bit of a strange setup. We've decided to look at each other today, different table, so it's a bit awkward. And I think there's going to be points where we're going to try and make each other laugh and stuff, which isn't going to be fun for editing later. But yeah,
I'm sure it'll be fine.
this is already the third time I'm having to start this because I'm laughing whilst I've had to look away to do the intro. But anyway, but you're doing good though.
I'm not bad, mate.
Good. Doing a lot better than Hibs defending recently.
Yeah, well, wouldn't it be difficult?
Right, we'll get back onto that though. Firstly, let's just fire through some news. First bit of news we've got is the Hibs reserves won 2-1. That's their fourth win in a row. This one was 2-1 win against St Mirren. Innes Murray with both the goals for Hibs. And interestingly, Alan Combe was on the bench. 44-year-old goalkeeping coach Alan Combe.
On the bench?
He was on the bench.
What was wrong with the other boy, like? So who was in goals? Dabrowski?
Dabrowski. So I don't know what was up with Martin, but if Dabrowski had got injured, Alan Combe would have came on and played
In a reserve match.
in a reserve match for Hibs.
Fair enough.
Aye. I mean, he is a big Hibby and he's never got to play for Hibs, so it would have been nice for him to pull on the jersey eventually at 44 in a reserve match indoors. But yeah, aye. So it's he's still got to get out and sit on the bench. So
That's quite cool. Get a good wee factoid.
Aye. You get any news for us?
Well, just the only thing that we've got is the under 21 call ups. So Shaw and Mackie got a call up, which is pretty decent.
Am I right saying that's Mackie's first call up?
Yeah, it will be. Aye,
he's very, very deserving. He's been.
Well, he's only came on the scene not that long ago, so you wouldn't have expected him to have on any sooner. So he's done well to get called up. This was probably his first chance.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Really good for him. And another bit of news we've got is that Celtic are going to pay for the seats after, what was it, 60 of the seats?
80.
80.
And damn right they should be paying for them, every single one of them as well.
Yeah. So let's just get on to the Celtic game then, since we're talking about that.
I've no time for exuberance. No time for it at all.
Yeah, so it was that's the Scottish Cup, unfortunately. Not a great way to start this, but what went wrong? So let's look at the team selection. When the team came out, were you happy with the team? Obviously we made a big thing and kind of titled our podcast last week about Omiyonga, that he should get a start, and he did at the expense of Malin. Is there anything else to the team that you kind of felt could have been different, or
The lineup was fine,
right?
Because we won our last few games, it kind of picked itself, and then Omiyonga, because of the way he played against St Johnstone, obviously worked his way in. But that's kind of where it goes wrong after that, because you've got to think, if we hadn't won our last few games, maybe he would have changed it up a wee bit and maybe set up a bit differently, maybe to combat Celtic's strengths a bit better, but he didn't. So
one of the key points from the game, just while we're talking about lineup, was there's no doubt about it, Scott Brown absolutely bossed the game. Sat in front of the defence and just sort of ran the game, and then obviously got forward and scored his goal as well. Do you feel if we'd had somebody like Ryan Gould fit and played him in that number 10 position, that would have kept Scott Brown busier and then we would have been able to have more of an impact in the game, not just from somebody like Ryan Gould linking the midfield from the attack, which is something I really feel we missed, but also to keep him busy, because there was nobody keeping him busy and he just bossed the game.
He honestly did what he wanted. It was a pipe and slippers job for him. It's one of the easiest games he'll have, which wasn't nice to see, because he's turned into a bit of an idiot, isn't he? I actually quite liked him until quite recently, but you see the way he was acting with Flo. Aye, don't like that.
No.
Remember what you came for, son? Like,
aye.
Didn't he get two big boots?
He's well past that.
He's gone. He's one of them.
He was a big boots for his time at Hibs as well. He was always.
I didn't mind arrogance in that, but I think he's just got to have a wee bit of respect. Remember, he wouldn't be anywhere near where he is if it wasn't for us. So, but aye.
I know, because I mean, it was like Hibs when he came through. I think he was initially a striker and then a right winger, and I think it was Mowbray that moved him into the middle. So,
He wasn't the only Celtic player to have get quite an easy time at it though.
Yeah.
To be fair, the pressing was so poor. Like, for Heckingbottom to come in and say, "Oh, we're going to press," and then to set a team up against Celtic and no press he's kind of digging himself a wee bit of a hole there. Know what I mean? And then when you look at challenges, that's in the last couple of games we played against Celtic, there's a 19% drop from the last game at Easter Road and challenges put in, and 22% drop since the game in April. So we weren't like anywhere near as in their face, and it just gave them an easy game.
Do you think that's a difference in tactics and something we should come to expect more, or do you think that's just maybe Heckingbottom with his first experience of a Celtic game, or do you feel it's maybe just sort of the likes of injuries and that have caught up with us and that we can't really play the way we want to?
Gave them too much respect.
Right.
And he said something when I was in the car on the way home. He said that he didn't want the players to be starstruck. Now, where's he that? I was like, whoa. Who's starstruck with Celtic? Like, last couple of times we played them at Easter Road, we beat them.
Who's there to be starstruck by?
I don't know. I don't know why.
The manager was in our dugout, so that there's no need to be starstruck by the manager.
No.
Scott Brown, like we said, came through the youth ranks at Hibs.
Yeah.
We've played against the likes of their best player, probably Forrest, a million times.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'll be honest. I just thought, I hope that's not a mentality that's going to get brought in, because we've not been starstruck. We've been the best team at the league at going at the Old Firm by an absolute country mile. And that game we didn't go at them at all. Our passing stats were actually roughly the same as our average for the season. You can't be average against Celtic. You need to be better than average. And then it's the least amount of shots we've had on attempts on goal at 4 in the calendar year, maybe even more than that. I mean, that's all. That why Scout only goes up to a year. Scroll back and was like looking. I was like, dearie me. It was
4 at home.
Yeah, we just didn't do much.
Was that 4 on target? Did you say?
No. There's just 4 attempts in general. 2 on target.
2 shots on target at home.
For McNulty, but that's not even. Just we didn't. There were, but even at that, there were kind of 2 snatched shots.
Aye, and they were kind of daisy cutters.
Aye, and just right into the Bain's hands. He didn't do anything. They could have had Hoopy the Huddle Hound in goals, and it wouldn't have mattered. Like, that's how.
No, that's funny. I like that.
They could have. It's not that funny, Gav. I'm pretty annoyed about it myself. I had to sit and watch it. But they were. It was just poor. And I hope we've learned from it.
Yeah.
And I hope he's like, okay, next time I'm going to have a proper go. He did say we played quite well. And see, to be honest, it's a weird one. See, when I was sitting there, and then it was like 60th minute. When did they score? What minute?
I can't remember.
So it was like after about an hour, and then I was like, we're not playing bad, but we were just containing them, and it did feel like a matter of time. They did start to control it. And it wasn't until they scored, and then we didn't really react or do anything, and then they scored again, and then I was like, okay, this has actually been quite soft, a soft performance. But it did take the first goal for that reality to start sinking with me. I was like, we've really not done much here. And
especially because there was a few chances they had which they could have scored, maybe a couple that should have scored and stuff. Yeah, should have done better. But
my papa said to me, it's the worst way to go at a cup. Just go at them, and if you go it, you go it. Like, but to go it just
with a whimper.
Yeah, it's quite disappointing. Everybody said that. You go on all the forums and that everybody's equally disappointed with the result. So, what can we know do? Dwell on it.
We'll
Rangers
we'll
next.
have to move on.
It's got to be, and he's got to learn. Not to do that against Old Firm. Just go at them, rattle them. So.
Well, as a podcast, we're not getting to move on yet because we've still got to talk through the goals.
Go for it.
And also I've taken notes on the goals. So
go for it. Don't know how to waste your time.
The first one, fair to say, Forrest has got too much space.
Aye. Some finish though.
Do you feel that if, for example, that was Rogic, they wouldn't have given him that much space? Like, do you think people kind of went, "Oh, it's Forrest. He's a winger. He's, either scores in the box or crosses. He's known for his long distance shots." Somebody like Rogic is. Do you think they've maybe stood off a bit more because they didn't expect that?
I'd probably no. Milligan's attempt to tackle was weak.
Well, on that one with Milligan was taken off straight after.
Yeah.
Do you feel that do you think he's maybe picked up a knock? Because he looked like he was struggling. I don't know whether it was fatigue or whether it was an injury, but it looked like it was something bothering him, and that was it. I don't want to doubt his attitude, so I'm kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt here, because it did look like a really lazy attempt to kind of get close to him, and I think that was because he physically couldn't, not because.
Yeah, possibly.
The fact he was taken off straight after the goal.
Aye, you're possibly right. I never thought about it that way. So it's a good angle to look at it, I suppose. But I don't doubt his attitude though, like, because he gets fired into everything and that. But it was a kind of half-arsed attempt at a tackle with there, and then Slivka never done put his selling glory either with it. But.
And then the second one comes from nothing. Bartley's got the ball, gets dispossessed really easily, and you know, Bartley's never going to have the pace to track back for that anyway, but still sits there and kind of moans rather than getting up and get on with it, which is really out of character for him. And then Edouard probably should do better, but Hanlon, really good bit of defending, then follows his man out, which means Slivka kind of comes in, and then when the ball gets passed across to the likes of Brown, McGregor and Stevenson and Slivka, who are kind of like the back three at that point, just stand there. They're just like statues. And then as soon as Scott Brown lines up for the shot, they're like, oh, we better close this down. It's like they've just not learnt from the one a minute ago. And Scott Brown's got all the space to kind of get that touch into the box and just absolutely another great finish, but way too much space for that one. I think that one was even more criminal.
Yeah, no. There's pretty much nothing else I can add to that. I was really disappointed in Bartley with that one. I thought that's where it all came from. Right. And the back four, didn't they see when Milligan went off? The only out ball they had was Slivka in the middle. So if Slivka was covered, they couldn't give the ball to anybody, because Milligan takes the ball from them and can turn and can pass and can kind of dwell on the ball a wee bit more and looks more comfortable than Bartley. Bartley kind of denning with the football at his feet, it looks like. And then that was proven as soon as I think Davy Gray gave him the ball. His touch was howling, and then away, he lost it. And then, just like you say, sat in the ground, wanting a free kick for nothing.
And just quickly, finally, in the Celtic game, obviously there was the incident in which all the papers were talking about. There's plenty of coverage on it, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. But the bottle being thrown, no place for it.
Nah, I do.
Yeah, just sort of one fan giving 17,000 people a bad name. Just, you know, it's an issue that's going on in Scottish football in general. I mean, we were at the derby at Tynecastle. There was loads of things being thrown by both sets of fans. I'm sure we actually saw a bottle getting thrown into.
It was a bottle of MD hit a boy like to a Longfield on the shoulder. Yeah, so it was lucky it didn't hit his head. I know. It's just mindless, man. Why
Celtic fans throwing something at the Hearts goalkeeper a couple of games ago? You know, it's an issue that Bruno, we don't know enough about life to comment on all these stuff. Just in terms of society and stuff, it's just football fans being idiots. They
wonder why we get a bad name, and then we moan about they take our drinks off us in the bus and they treat us like animals at games and that, which is wrong. But then they help ourselves.
No,
well, I'm saying we don't help ourselves. One absolute twat throws a bottle. Just stupid. There's like you said. What else do you say? What else can you actually cover on it? It shouldn't have happened. You should get banned for life, Easter Road.
But anyway, that's enough on that. There's been enough coverage on that. So let's move on to a bit that I'm calling Time for Heroes or Change. Looking at the Scottish Cup team, I've just got a thing here I'll grab. The Scottish Cup final, we've got left from the team McGregor, Hanlon, Gray, Stevenson, and Bartley and Martin Boyle. Martin Boyle, I think it's fair to say, you know, we're actually missing him at the moment. He's quite safe. Stevenson recently signed a new deal, and Hanlon, we'll talk about Hanlon actually, but so I mean, Gray, McGregor and Bartley's contracts are up at the end of the year. what should Hibs do now with them? Looking at their recent performances, I mean, we were craving to get Gray back in the team because of what he brings to the team going forward, but we've started to see some stuff defensively. He's maybe not where he was before his injuries. So starting with Gray, what's your thoughts on Sir David?
His tackling in that against Celtic was actually pretty decent. That wasn't the problem. It was ironically the problem was his balls in the box.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't good enough. We wasted so many opportunities doing the feature them. Stevenson and Gray. So I think with Gray, we look a better team with him playing, and we hit a bit more bite. And so I think he'll probably be here next season. Maybe not playing every game. I don't know if he'll maybe.
So would you sign somebody to be ahead of him and have him as backup, or would you start with him and put somebody to compete with him for the jersey?
Now I think David Gray's still good enough to be our starting right back.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with that.
So new deal for David Gray.
Yep.
New 1 year deal because of his age and his injuries.
Probably just 1 year. I think he's good. It's a tough one because I think there is scope to say that there is some games he's not good enough, or he's a bit slow in that. But then I don't know. That way you didn't want to say anything bad about David Gray. I feel like I can't.
Right.
I can't.
No, I have to say I agree. I mean, I personally, I think I'd be looking to bring in somebody to start and say, by the way, you've got Scottish Cup legend David and captain of the club David Gray behind you, pushing you for a jersey. So anytime you make a mistake, or he'll be getting in for occasional games or coming off the bench or cup games or whatever, so he'll be right on your heels.
I think equally that would push David Gray as well.
Yeah,
to be fair, because there isn't much at right back now.
And if he's got another player there, because it's fair to say Whittaker hasn't worked out, then if he's got another player there, it means that there's not a demand on him to play as much, and injuries will hopefully be less of an issue. Anyway, so we're both going for keeping David Gray. Next one, Darren McGregor. I
think he actually played right against Celtic as well.
Although I'd fault him for not solely, but collectively, I'd fault him with the second goal.
Yeah, he's been at the last few games, and since he's came back from his injury, when he came back, Parkhead, he came back at, didn't he? His first game back from injury was at Parkhead. Mm-hmm. Since then, he's had a few moments, and to be honest with you, I think his time's probably up.
Do you think just with his injuries and stuff that is maybe his legs and can?
Yeah, it's just a shame because
kind of going.
He's class when he's on his game, but I just think it's just maybe over the hill a wee bit, and if we want to be getting Europe in that, we're gonna need a bit better. So
would you say let him go and play football somewhere else for the end of his career, or keep him as a squad player?
Yeah, I'd say probably a squad player. He's not going to be going anywhere. Leanne said he's one of the folk. Pretty sure he was one of the ones on our list that said. And then the next one we've got is Marvin Bartley. Contract also up in the summer. Time's up. Do you think? Yep. He was one of the ones Leanne was also talking about keeping. Yeah, but it's fine. You can. But she did say that. Just on this Leanne thing, she said if she could have her way, she would keep them around in the football club in some capacity. Yeah, and she didn't say in terms of playing, and and she did respect. Sort of hinting at respecting the first team, the manager, and his decision and stuff. So. Well, the thing with Bartley is that he's a good character, and you see, we were at the Player of the Year Awards last season, and he was brilliant. He got on the stage and done a wee bit, and he was talking about how much he hates Hearts and that. I had the place in stitches, and he just seems to, since he's joined, he's been one of the folk that's, and he's admitted himself, the club's got under his skin. He's enjoyed it. So obviously, that's what happens in football, though. Like your time's up. He's not good enough anymore to the standard that we need if we want to get places. I mean, he's always been kind of known for bossing
it's fair to say that he's not had as much first team football this season or last season as he did when we were in the Championship. In the Championship and obviously the Scottish Cup, did he actually play? No, he never played in the Scottish Cup.
No, but he was involved.
He was involved in
a lot of the games.
A lot of games building up to it, on the bench for the final. But yeah, I mean, his sort of main sort of career with Hibs has been the Championship, and he's been in and out of the team this season. And I don't know if it's maybe just a thing because he's been in and out of the team for too long. But what's he now? 32. His legs are going a bit. He didn't have much pace to begin with, so as he's getting slower. I feel this is a horrible conversation. Whose idea was it to have this?
It was your idea.
Talking about Scottish Cup legends like this. So Marvin Bartley, what was saying?
That for me, his time first team football at us is done.
Right, so we'll go let him play somewhere else.
Yep.
And get him doing his coaching badges to come back as a coach.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Right. And then the last one here, Paul Hanlon. This one's a bit of a different one because Paul Hanlon's recently signed a new deal. He's I think this one's maybe more the fact that he came back from injury and he's maybe just not been the same sort of player since that injury.
Yeah, I just think his performances need to improve. He can't go anywhere. Still need him, and when he's on form, he's one of the best centre halves we've got. So
yeah, I think that like him before that injury, which was on the podcast speaking about him after. He's been a different player, and I think just it's a muscle injury, so maybe just take a bit of time to get him back to where he was. And a good pre-season, I'm sure he'll be back to his best next season. So no issues with Paul Hanlon. I think to me, in an ideal situation, would have first team players that are good enough for making sure Hibs are challenging for third. And we've got the likes we said earlier about David Gray, and maybe McGregor, and maybe even Bartley as squad players sort of behind those, and then behind them we've got academy players that are also adding more competition. So the perfect positions left back. We've got Stevenson, and then we've got competition for him in the Loam, and then we've got an academy player in Mackie, and the academy player's doing that well that he's actually getting ahead in the Loam. So if you looked at that, we had Milligan maybe as a starter, Bartley as the backup, and then a youngster that was actually coming in and being ahead of Bartley because the youngster was doing that well. I think that'd be the ideal situation. That way you can kind of justify keeping them at the club. But I don't know. It's tough to say.
I think we do need to try and improve though. And as brutal as this conversation is, it's no conversation anybody wants to have. At the end of the day,
they're getting older.
It's the conversation that needs to be had.
Because they're all.
We're football fans who want our club to do better and we want to compete. So sometimes you've just got to take sentiment out of it.
Gray, McGregor and Bartley, 3 of them are in their 30s now. They're getting older, they're getting towards the end of their career, and Hibs need to be the best. We can't, sentiment's great and stuff, but players eventually need to move on. So tough conversation to have.
The area that we'll probably spend a bit of, don't know if we'll spend money, but we'll all recruit for in the summer the most, I think, is probably defence.
Yeah. And then finally, are we being harsh? There's a new manager. There's Effie Soe, who was a big part of our defence. Porteous is injured, who was getting a lot of game time, so McGregor's kind of been chucked back in maybe a bit earlier. Same with Hanlon, maybe had needed a bit more time to eat, but he's back in. They've lost Effie, which is a big, so we had to change the way we play. Then we've got a new manager coming in. So is the way the defence playing maybe, do we maybe need to look at that a bit more?
Yeah, you can do, but I don't think anything that I've said is, or what you're saying is controversial. It's at the end of the day, it's what's happening. So we can't change the events that have led up to maybe certain people playing in certain positions and who we're missing, and that we can't do it. So you can only judge the performances that are happening on the park. And the defence hasn't been good enough. So no, I don't think we've been harsh. It's a rubbish situation to be in regards to we've got a lot of key players out, and I don't even think we'd be struggling for top 6 if we had the likes of Porteous and Boyle and Ryan Gold back in. I don't think we're struggling at all. I'd be pretty confident, in fact.
But saying that, it's not all negative. We've still won 4 games in a row in the 3 games in a row in the league. We're only 3 points behind Hearts. We're currently 6th.
Yep.
You know, we've beat St Johnstone to get, you know, points away for them and stuff. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's just, you know, moving forward into next season, sort of starting to think long term, starting to make those plans for the summer. I think the manager might want to get his own players in.
Yeah, and we can all agree that since the management team's come in, it's been good.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it. Fair to say, you know, just to kind of finish on that bit, we absolutely love those the guys that have all been talking about. They've brought us the happiest day of our lives. I'm sure I've not had any kids yet, but there's no way they're topping that. The day I have kids, they'll no top that. So the next thing we're going to talk about is coming out of the Celtic game, but it's more coming out of many games this season, home games this season, and has been a big talking point post the Celtic game, and that is where the singing section are located, and there's now been a petition to move them back to section 43 in the East Stand.
Or the front block of the famous 5 law. That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. So it currently has 690.
No,
690. Sorry, 690.
At 21 minutes past 6.
Right.
On the 4th of March, 2019.
No, we're recording.
That's fine.
That's fine.
We don't pretend it's live.
No.
So it's fine. Don't stress out about it. The only thing it now does is when will you put it out?
Aye. It does. Maybe people are like, oh my god, it took them so long
to edit, and it was still shite.
Anyway, so the singing section, petition to get them back in the famous 5 low, to get them down to the famous 5 lower or back in section 43. So let's start with killing the urban myth. Leanne Dempster did not move them. The Police Scotland did not move them. They requested to move.
Right.
They requested the move to the famous 5 lower, and I think the thinking was getting everybody in the famous 5 lower and kind of having, like, you know, because we shoot that way the second half, you know, like Liverpool shooting into the Kop, and it sort of be like that with the noise and kind of like the players were shooting into that. So that was the thinking behind it. So that's why it's always been famous 5 lower that they're aiming for. So they looked at it, and they would have had to have moved too many people, and they looked at it, and the best thing they could come up with was they could move 26 people and have them up in the top tier, top right hand corner of the famous 5, and they agreed to that. Fair to say it's maybe not worked as well as they hoped, but they kind of agreed to that. They were going to make that their bet, and yeah, so 26 people had to be moved. Still people unhappy that they've had to be moved, and now they're wanting to move again. So what's your stance on it before I
needs moved?
Right.
It does. In my honest opinion, needs moved.
Okay.
It's not worked. So fair enough, they've asked to move, and the club have tried to accommodate them best they can. But if both parties agree it's not worked, and there's there is a way somehow to move them and get them in the lower famous 5, it's empty anyway.
But the only reason it's empty is because of single seats.
But what? How many? No, I know. I was there. I heard that. You can tell folks now. Go.
Well, there was a bit about the single seats where there's like, you know, maybe they've seat 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5 are sold to a dad and a son, and then 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 8 and 1, 2, 9 are sold to family 3, and then you've got 1, 2, 6. Nobody wants to buy one seat. And there's quite
it's not that nobody wants to. You're not allowed to because it's in the family section.
Yeah,
you've got to buy. So there's single seats started about, and it's like 50 or something like that, which we need to try and work our way around. And they admitted that we're going to do that. I think that's one thing that Colin had said that he was going to try and do. Because to me, obviously people are dead personal about where they sit. They want to sit in the same seat all the time. But if everyone can just, it's simple. Like if everyone budgies their one, they're getting the same view. And there's an extra tickets for sale, especially on sold out games. It's no sell out if you're getting 50 empty seats off the bat straight away. But the famous Five Lows got a bigger problem than 50 empty seats. It had about 2,000. Well, there's probably only about 2,000, but you know what I mean. Had hundreds and hundreds of empty seats against Celtic on Saturday. Why?
I don't know, but there was empty seats in the East Stand as well, which there usually isn't.
I know, but the famous Five Lower looked awful on the television, and it completely wasted the banner. The banner that the Since 1875 guys done that went across the top tier was impressive. It was massive. That picture does not look good with the banner. So that, to me, their good work and their effort to make that. It's not been showcased in the correct light at all, with them all empty seats below it.
So obviously there's an issue there in terms of seats, but it would still be a lot of people need to be moved in terms of season ticket holders if they were going to try and move them down there.
So question I would ask, 'cause I don't know much about it, right? So I would ask, is there a way that the family section could be someone else? Surely the families that don't turn up to games against Rangers, Celtic and Hearts, right? Because I get that, I know Saturday was not a season ticket game. You had to pay off the top. But the families that don't turn up against Old Firm, obviously the famous Five Low is always the bit that looks the worst, because there's always like 5 seats empty, because if a family, one member doesn't go, the odd didn't go. Right? So it always looks worse than it actually probably is. Surely they can see where the club's coming from if they're like, look, if the game's on the telly, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
So they won't have a problem with it.
But even it has been bad for Old Firm games and the Hearts games and stuff, I get that. But it's usually not as bad as it was for that game. And I can understand why a family of 3 or 4 or whatever, as a family section, and it's usually like the parents, they have to pay for the tickets. So they're having to pay, they've already bought their season tickets, and then they're having to pay for a Scottish Cup game. They're having to pay an extra, probably about 80, 90 quid for 3 or 4 tickets, and then you've got to travel, and then so you're talking about 100 quid to go watch Hibs get beat 2-0 by Celtic. It's easy enough for you and me, you're just buying yourself a one-off ticket. I'm buying myself a ticket, lucky enough I'm a student, I can buy a student price one. It's great, but families aren't, and that's a lot of money for a family.
Aye, but we're kind of getting away from what we're actually debating here.
I'm sticking up for them for why they weren't there.
Aye, that's fine, but it still doesn't answer why they didn't turn up to games they've got a season ticket for.
Yeah, no, I get that one.
It's got a history of being a really rubbishly populated point of the ground, and I just think the club need to listen, and then maybe explain a wee bit more to people. Maybe they've already done it before. I personally have probably not just paid much attention to it, but it's becoming, the conversation's getting all brought back up again because of this petition. The club need to listen to its supporters. So they either come out and be like, "I can move," or they come out and be like, "Alright, it can't move. This is the reasons it can't move," and maybe explain it in a proper way and get people understanding. If there is a logical reason why it can't be moved, then fine, fair enough. And I know people would need to move seats and that, but can the club inquire about it? Because it's a large amount of people that signed that petition, and there'll be far more people than 690 disagreeing with the singing section being what it is. It's not effective. It doesn't do anything. I can't hear it for 40. I'm wearing 44. You can barely hear it. We started singing a song on Saturday against Celtic. We started singing the Paul Hanlon song, right? We only started singing the Paul Hanlon song because Celtic were playing it on their drum, their version of it. So we started singing the Paul Hanlon version of it. That was why we started singing it. Simple as that.
Right. But I mean, there's in the singing section, there's about 250 to 300 people you're looking at moving. So section 43, that's probably about half of that, because they're a lot bigger than what they were when they were. That's one of the reasons they wanted to move, because they're bigger than what they were when they were just sort of a few of them sort of dotted about down the bottom of the section 43.
Yep.
they wanted to expand. There was a lot of people that were kind of dashed about. They wanted to be more of a collective unit, and that's why they moved. And Hibs helped accommodate them with that and moved 26 people. If they were moved back to Section 43, half of Section 43, probably about 690 folk, would need to agree to move. Now, I can guarantee you those 690 are not all in Section 43.
No, probably not. What I would say though is, why can supporters not all just agree that they want the best for the stadium in general and the best atmosphere at games, and be like, Ken, what? It's going to make the place better. Like, I'll move.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, just quickly, I do realise I'm saying 690 people need to move for 300 people. That doesn't make sense, but you know, I was just making my point. But yeah, in terms of that, you'll have people that have been, no, this has been my seat since the stand opened. I'm not moving. So if you've got 3 people that take that attitude and refuse to move, you've got a problem. Even if everyone else did.
Yeah.
And then you're putting a singing section around them that maybe they want there, but I don't know.
So if you could move it, would you think it would be better?
Oh, of course it would be
43 or the lower of the famous 5.
I agree it would be better in the East Stand. Maybe not even section 43, but more bang in the middle. I think it would be brilliant there. But it's not practical. There's too many people that are not. Well, we need a petition of people that are willing to move seats in order to accommodate it. That's what the petition needs to be.
I think the club needs to either do an inquiry into moving, or they come out and say why they can't move.
How do you speak directly to that many people? Because people just ignore their emails or their letters or whatever. How do you speak to, like, say, everybody in the famous 5 lower?
Aye, everybody's contactable. You just need a generic. If you fall under that bracket, you'd get a generic email, surely, no? Or a contact, or we need to try and do something. At the end of the day, they're going to try and renew. So, do you put something on it so that when they try and renew, a note comes up? I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I'm not into all that operation side. I don't know.
Right. So do you think it's achievable moving them?
I don't know if it's achievable. That's what I'm saying. I'm sitting here just giving my opinion. I think in an ideal world it moves.
Uh-huh.
If there isn't if it can't happen, then fine. But
right.
Say why.
So you'd like to see the club act on the petition and try and do something?
They need to act on the petition.
Wow.
Can't ignore it. You're going to ignore 1,000 of your supporters if it gets to 1,000. That's unhealthy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But at the same time, you don't want Hibs fans thinking that anytime they don't like something, they can sign a petition.
Nah, that would be ridiculous. I don't think. Nah, that would be ridiculous.
You don't think Hibs fans would do that?
No.
Right.
I don't think we're that stupid and
petty
and that. Nah. Of
Okay,
course the tune would do it. I don't think we would do it. I don't think the petition's been made out of badness. I just think it's maybe what whoever's made it's wanting it brought into light. I don't know if they're even in the singing section. It'd be weird if they were, considering they asked to move, but it's maybe somebody just been like, Ken, what? They've not known how to get in the right channels. Maybe they should have just went to the fans reps and be like, can you bring us to the board?
Mm-hmm.
So it's maybe a communication piece again. Like,
what if they kept the singing section where it was and started another one?
2 singing sections. Why does everybody not just sing?
Hear me out, yeah. So you've got the singing section up in the famous 5 upper, and in the East Stand you take the drum away from them and you put the drum in the East Stand and have a small singing section, maybe just like 50 of them or something, in the middle of the East, and then they get the song started in the East. The famous 5 can hear them because they're close because it's in the middle of the East Stand, and they join in and they get the songs going.
Yeah, well, I think we're looking at it a bit too much. I think if a song starts to get sung at a football ground, and if you want the atmosphere to improve, then you need to become part of that, and you need to start singing as well. If you didn't, then you can't moan about the atmosphere being poor.
It's hard to sing when no one's singing beside you, though.
It's no, you open your mouth.
And I've got a really bad singing voice, though. And I go really quiet, and like
If nobody joins in, but yeah, I can get that, but that's...
It's happening again.
Oh dear. But it's just one of them. It's a good debate. It's something that needs addressed. Whether whether it ends, there is an answer to it. It's no like a debate that can't be answered. There's an answer. Either it can happen or it can't happen. Simple. So what the club got to do? They need to say.
Fair enough. I think it's fair to say there could be a lot of talking points boiling out of this podcast that hopefully gets more conversation going on the matter. And I mean, I just sort of, I'm trying to take a point of view that's kind of giving the club a bit of backing, because I think the club's getting a bad rep. The clubs can't ignore 1,000 signatures.
They've not done anything.
The club moved them. The club never moved them.
Yeah.
It never happened. So I want to kill that urban myth, and if we can use the podcast as a platform to do that, easy for me to say, then great. The club have moved 26 season ticket holders before, to get them up there, and it would be a lot more people than that would have to be moved in order to get them back over Section 43 or in the famous 5 lower. So I'm just trying to stick up for the club here. That's a difficult thing to do, and it's all...
Like I say, I don't think anybody's sticking the boot into the club though. They're just... The person that's made the petitions maybe know, like I said, knowing what channels to go down to get their point heard, so they've done this.
Right.
I don't think it's a bad thing that the petition's there.
25th of March.
Working together, we'll go along with working together, Speak to your fans reps and that, it's fine. Like, you can say all that. Like, I wouldn't have made a petition.
Well, the petition,
not
it's good. No, but it's good because it means that if people come along to the working together meeting, because they do need bigger attendances, 25th of March, West Stand, 6:30. If people come along to that, then they can go, look, there's more of us here. This is a big topic we want to talk about. We've got a petition signed by probably at that point over 1,000 people. This is something that we really want to work with the club, working together, in order to change for the better, to have the best atmosphere at our home.
Yeah, exactly. 690 people wanting the atmosphere to be better. Well, that's the issue. I'd be more concerned if folk want to ball about the atmosphere. We want to try and make it loud in that again, and it has died down a wee bit since they moved, so we need to, like you say, all work together and see if there is a solution. Well,
on that point, we've been taking very different approaches to this and kind of disagreed on this a bit. So on a point where we're actually agreeing on it, we'll move on to the Rangers game and kind of finish up in there. But I mean, this conversation is going to keep on going, and like I say, if people want to come along to the working together meeting, that'd be great, and hopefully get more work done on it, and hopefully get a positive outcome. So Rangers at Friday night. Friday night game's always quite exciting. It's been a while since we've had a Friday night game.
I hate Rangers.
Fair enough.
Move on. I just want to get that
in. Okay, so they're sitting second in the league just now. They're 8 points behind Celtic, and they're 8 points ahead of Aberdeen. Are they still in a title race?
Nope.
So you don't think there's a title race on?
No, I don't. No.
I mean, they've still got to play each other.
Still got to play each other twice, but I still think Celtic are too strong.
So a potential 6 points.
Yeah.
That would get to 2, and then Celtic slip it once more. But what's there, 10 games to go?
Yep. I honestly think we've got a chance against them on Friday as well. Friday night.
Right.
So I think if we take points off them, then that'll be it done.
They have been on a really good run of form recently, though.
That's fine.
They're scoring for fun, and they're keeping them out of the other end. Looking at their last few games from the beginning of February, they beat St Mirren 4-0, beat Aberdeen 4-2. They did draw 0-0 with Kilmarnock, but then beat them 5-0 in the replay. A 0-0 with St Johnstone, and then 5-0 against Hamilton, 4-0 against Dundee. So they're scoring high-scoring games. Quite a few clean sheets in there. 4 clean sheets in the bounce. Obviously not. No, and that doesn't really work because they had the Scottish Cup game, which wasn't a clean sheet. But before that, it was 4 clean sheets in the bounce. So are they starting to come together now as a team? And maybe a bit too late in terms of their title push, but should we be worried about them for Friday night? You seem quite confident, so obviously.
No, I just get this weird thing in my body when MD's talking in a good way about Rangers and that. Like I start like twitching and that. I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I just want to always be like right in their faces and be like, "Come on, we can beat them," and that all the time. Just take that into the game.
Well, we should have that attitude against every team.
Aye, no, definitely. I know that. But there is a bit of niggle in it with the Rangers now, so there has been for years. There's obviously concern around Morelos is decent. He's very decent. He's not going to be there next season. We'll need to defend well against him, and obviously you've got the likes of Candace and that, pretty decent. Arfield in the middle. The back four. McGregor's a decent keeper. There's probably you've got the weak point in that Worrell, but he scored at the weekend. So see what happens. But we just shouldn't be too concerned and don't show them respect like we showed Celtic. We can't afford to do that. Get right in about them.
So you don't think there's a chance we could be starstruck by Rangers?
No, not at all. Better not be anyway.
So did you manage to catch the game yesterday, the Scottish Cup game?
I got a dodgy stream. It wasn't that dodgy. It was alright. I wasn't paying $9.99 for that. Not a chance.
And what was your thoughts? Who do you feel the better team was? Aberdeen versus Rangers.
Aberdeen were by far the better team in the first half, far and away, and Rangers kind of got back in it a wee bit as soon as they scored and who Aberdeen were now winning. So I think they've probably blew their chance as well, because I think Rangers will beat them at Ibrox.
Right. And what do you make of JR's comments saying, having a go at the Aberdeen pitch, saying now we've got full Ibrox, I'm sure they'll get behind us, we've got a better and bigger pitch, and hopefully we can get more like the Rangers next time. The Rangers.
Yeah, he's starting to sound like one of them, innit? It's just he's obviously had the newsletter in. They all sound the exact same. As soon as you've been around that club for a while, you just excuses and that. At the end of the day, they weren't good enough to beat Aberdeen. Gerrard says a point was a fair result. Now the manager that normally comes out and says a point's a fair result
is the manager that knows he should have got beat.
Yeah, that's the way I always look at it. Always looked at it that way. So we'll see. Hopefully he's coming away on the weekend saying, I thought the least we deserved was a point. For whatever reason, his stupid accent, I don't even know. That was the worst Liverpudlian accent ever. Can I try again?
If you want.
Nah, it's fine. I don't want to embarrass myself.
No, go for it.
No, move on.
It's a podcast. You get unlimited tries.
No, I know what you're like. You'll keep them. You'll add them at the end. Nah, I nearly went now. I'm not doing it. I can't do it.
Stevie Gerrard. No, fuck.
Just stop. Move on. My face is gone red.
Okay, so looking at Hibs, how should Hibs line up? Should we stick with the 4-4-2 or should we make a change?
Probably stick 4-4-2.
Do you feel that? I mean, even against St Johnstone, we struggled to get service to the strikers with the 4-4-2. We're
going to miss Slivka. Slivka always does well against them too. It's a wee bit annoying.
Yeah, suspended for the game. Yeah, I mean, and so who comes in for him?
Probably Malin will probably come in.
Is Omiyonga okay though? We don't. I mean,
if
a couple of days until the game, we don't know.
Nah, he didn't know.
It didn't look great.
No,
the injury.
See what happens.
So if Omiyonga's out, who comes in then? Do you play Mackie in midfield because he'd done it against Celtic and showed a bit of bite, or have we got?
Well, we've got Biggery Mana. We've seen nothing. So like, what did we sign him for? We've not signed him for no reason. So surely he can come in if he needs to.
Yeah, he does need his opportunity.
I would like to think
I don't know if a game against Rangers is the opportunity that are the best, or fair to have his first start.
Well, I sometimes think deep end helps. Mackie got chucked in the deep end. Played a blinder.
Yeah.
So. You never know. He might deal with the pressure well.
So yeah, I don't know.
What did we sign him for if he can't play?
Yeah, well, nil him.
suppose. Valid point. Touche.
I feel sorry for that lad. I think he's a decent player and should have been given more opportunities. Obviously, Louis, but you know the fact that he's just sort of not being given a chance at all is a bit unfair. But anyway, let's go. So, score prediction for the game.
I honestly think we will win.
Right.
3-2.
3-2.
I generally think that might be the score. Never even try to be sentimental.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go a really bum squeaky 1-0 Hibs.
Take it.
Yeah. Okay. So for the game, we've obviously don't have the odds yet because we'll have to message David. But have you got anything you're thinking? Do you want to go for that? Obviously, that's quite a popular thing. 3-2. Do you want to go for that?
Yeah, or just Davy Gray. Davy Gray to score any time, something like that.
We'll do that. We'll do David Gray to score any time, full stop, and Hibs to win 3-2. It's 2 bets and get them enhanced.
Yeah, could do. There'd be some laugh if that came in.
Aye.
Davy Gray win a header against them.
Yeah.
Be brilliant.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with them too. If we change our mind, we change our mind.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if it's your first time signing up to FansBet, they've got an offer there now. £10? Bet £10 and get £10 free credit. Yeah. Nah, I like the idea of David Gray anytime because he's a defender. It'll be high anyway. Yeah. So enhancing it will be decent. Really fun. Anyway, so if you've not signed up before, you know obviously there's that offer on the now, and make sure you select Hibs Talk as your beneficiary. Yeah, when you sign up. So select Hibernian as your club, and then I'll have a via bet. Make sure you select Hibs Talk. So yeah, I think that's the podcast today. So thank you very much for coming along, Dave.
No worries.
Right. Got much on this week?
This week, not working loads. To be fair, quite a bit. I might go home and catch the Partick game tonight.
Yep, Partick game tonight.
Yep, and see if they can.
Can't mean to they're playing, but I know they're on.
Yeah, Partick are playing some diddy team.
Aye.
They should win. So, it'll be decent.
Good. Sounds good. Yeah, just you name myself, so thanks for asking.
Sorry, mate. To be honest, I just want to go home.
Charming. Right, well, thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back next week looking back at the Rangers game. And who have we got the week after? Is it Livingston? No, we've got somebody before that, don't we? Livingston in 2 weeks. We'll look into who we've got. Nice and prepared as always. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Pass me another.